Alright, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule well, teach well in the spirit. Shalom to the hopeful elect brethren out there pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives to push this word. It's like it. To wake up the hopeful elect brethren out there. And I'm going to shed light on something that I noticed and that intrigued me through watching a video on YouTube. This was months ago. It was about months ago, but I had to gather more intel and information on it. So I just wanted to speak on it, and Lord willing, it's edifying, and because we're supposed to be diligent and what I'm saying, doing our part in this truth, no matter what it is, man. You know, this is about the Clamorgan Alley, which is a street in St. Louis, downtown St. Louis. Okay, and it was named by what I believe a so-called black man. Because the history is skewed nowadays, man. Like, for the lack of words. Speaking on how like at the little video, the sit down we did, or the you know lesson we did earlier today in Forest Park, about how this man names his lands by his own name, like the scriptures say. Wherever he go, he names them, like America Vespucci and Scipio Africanus, America and Africa. Those are Edomites. But you have streets and things named after Martin Luther King. It might be a street, Martin Luther King Drive, or so on and so forth. But that his name is not originally an Israelite name. It's from an Edomite. Okay, a European, so-called European Edomite. So it could be either way. I'm just trying to shed light on that through the spirit. This guy could be a Jake Judite. Because you got to think about it. We ruled Europe, the Renaissance period at that point in time. So you had Jakes that came over here and was free already. You know what I'm saying? And they were free men. They show you that in Django. And St. Louis, who knows? He could have been an Israelite. He could have been an Edomite. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta check out the history in the background. It's St. Louis. He was a fan of the scriptures. He was banning certain things that's against the scriptures. And that leads me to believe he was an Israelite. Who knows? He was a Saint John. He was a saint, or a St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I gotta do, a little bit more information on that. But I was gonna bring out an article from St. Louis Dispatch, but I found this, and I could still bring it out in a later time. But I'm gonna read this and bring out some scriptures. There's a Clamorgan Alley, Jacques Philippe Clamorgan, 1734 through 1814. When St. Louis was in its infancy, black and white fur traders, trappers, adventurers in common made deals and sold their wares what is now Laclede Landing, and that's downtown by the river front by the Mississippi River, by the arch. Them roads that you see, that's bricks. Like, it's very nostalgic and vintage and old school. That's where Laclede Landing is. It says Clamorgan Alley is named for one of those characters, Felipe Clamorgan. The name of this alley is one of a few historical references to the city of St. Louis dating prior to 1776, the foundation and independence of the United States. I'm going to just read this. Jeremiah 51:19. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. So Jacob is the portion is not like them. Jacob got changed his name to Israel. Okay. And who is Israel? The Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. The portion is not like them. You know, your portion of your inheritance is not like these other nations. For he is the former of all things. Right, he's the former of all things. We have so many inventions that's contributed here in America that everybody uses. And Israel is the rod of his inheritance. So only the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans be saved. That's why we're so special as we are today at the bottom, I would say. Very, very bottom. At the most bottom. It says the story begins in 1781 with the arrival of French voyagers Jacques Clamorgan in colonial St. Louis. Clamorgan, whose origins were as murky as his morals, made a fortune in the fur trade and land speculation. Renowned for his charm, he won Spanish land grants, totally nearly 1 million acres in the upper Louisiana territory. Ooh, okay. In 1804, he owned an entire block of Lacay's Landing, including two of the original states for the Roder place and the Iron Works building. Clamorgan was laid to rest in the Old Cathedral in 1814. Clamorgan's descendants included vivid characters among the biracial and illegitimate offspring and a success of slaves with whom he openly, each generation circumvented increasingly difficult by barriers. And who knows, man? Hey, he could be but read on. It's gonna say, but who knows? He could be a terror. It's hard to tell. You know, I'm just, you know what I'm saying, bringing out the info. You know, because a lot of things around us are very historical. You know, it says in 1858, Cyprian Clamorgan wrote a brief but immensely readable book entitled "The Colored Aristocracy of St. Louis," the grandson of Jacques Clamorgan and his mulatto mistress. Hey, his mulatto mistress. Who knows? Could be a Levite, maybe. Esther, he was himself a member of the colored aristocracy in the setting where the vast majority of African Americans were slaves. Hey. And were those who were free generally lived in abject poverty. Clamorgan's aristocrats were exceptional people, wealthy, educated, articulate. These men and women occupied a middle ground. Their material advantages removed them from the mass of African Americans. I didn't read that part, but their race barred them from membership in white society. So he was probably like a light, mulatto colored, light skinned fellow, man. All right. A light skinned fellow, man, who was an Israelite. And he's most likely, you know what I'm saying, looked at as an outcast because he had a lighter tone and he could speak well and things of that nature. You know, it just happens that way, man. Oh, Jake ain't dark skinned and you know what I'm saying? The average Judite, you know? And he most likely is from not even a Judite, like a Levite or something. You know, most likely from the southern tribe. Most likely, you know, that's just our people, man. We gonna come in all colors. Uh, I'm all colors and sounding different, but all backgrounds. But you know what I'm saying. But you gotta go. I gotta go deeper about how his morals was. What was his character? You know what I'm saying. Did he even have some type of, you know what I'm saying, morals? He was probably, you know what I'm saying, probably a Catholic, most likely. You know, probably not a Christian. Cause you had, you know, they even show you like on like Boardwalk Empire and all of that TV series, how they had Jakes in there who was wealthy, you know what I'm saying, but looked very light skinned and could know how to manipulate and get through Esau's society when it was first setting up, you know, and inherited the money and wealth. This is the book of Matthew 5:13. Ye are the salt of the earth, right? You are the salt of the earth. We are the flavor. You know, you put on salt on something, it's gonna bring out the flavor. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna bring out the taste. You know, we had in worldly term, we do have the flavor, man. You know, in every aspect. But if the salt have lost its savor, where shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. Right? So he wasn't in the truth. Truth wasn't even really out there like that. You probably had Nat Turner, but he wasn't right fully. You know, probably had others here and there. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Right? Ye are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. You know what I'm saying? Us in our natural habitat, which is under the law, statutes, and commandments, we're the light of the world. But right now, we're not looking so hot because we rebelled against the law, statutes, and commandments, rebelled against our power, and served other gods. So we got to serve this punishment here in America. You know, but Lord willing, we get all this is done soon, and we can get the hell up out of here, Lord willing. I don't want to wrap this up. But Lord willing, I can do an update on this and really get some intel on this. You know what I'm saying?